The first key to empowerment, an empowerment culture. Since humans rely only on culture for survival, culture is an essential and is culture is an essential empowerment tool for Black Americans. Culture usually refers to the norms or systems of behavior and shared values that are passed on from one generation to another. Essentially, culture is a script that is never neutral in its purposes. It either empowers or de-empowers a group. What it does to a group depends in large measure upon the position the group holds in the societal pecking order of acceptability. And whether they are in a group or an outgroup, culture's most important function is to promote cohesiveness and trust that bind members together through values such as group loyalty, pride, and respect. It is through culture that members of a group know who and what they are and how to behave. The culture of America's dominant society is Eurocentric. Through its culture, it promotes its own values as baseline against which every other group is compared. Blacks must build a foundation on the roots of their culture as illustrated in Figure 4. The dominant culture promotes negative images of Black people, expropriates their culture, then labels Blacks culturally deprived, inferior, dependent, non-producing, compromising, powerless, impoverished, politically inept, and non-competitive. Eurocentric culture incorporates the Horatio Alger myth of ethnic success and individualism. This myth asserts that individuals who are hardworking and who live exemplary, pious lives can always achieve and move up the economic and social ladder. Sociologists and politicians buy into the Horatio Alger myth, then use it as a yardstick by which to rate the cultures of entering ethnic immigrants. Over the last century, these authorities have systematically ranked various ethnic immigrant groups and their cultures, then granted them the option of assimilating into the majority society while retaining their respective cultures. Black Americans remain an official outgroup and are chastised as culturally deprived or lacking middle-class white values. To keep blacks de-empowered, the dominant society promotes the myth that all ethnic and racial groups started out as even, and at the bottom in America, the Horatio Alger myth gives the impression that blacks alone are responsible for their failure in American society. The white culture script justifies the racial exclusion, exploitation, and abuse of black people as the official outgroup. Those justifications are transmitted through negative images of blacks that are embedded in the larger culture as well as the Black American culture. These images devalue black culture and in effect script blacks against themselves. Since Jews, Asians, and Cubans are the groups most often held up as the cultural models of success, let's look at them to see and how their culture empowered them. Without a doubt, Jews have been one of the most successful immigrants to enter the country. Jewish economic success in America is usually attributed to their cultural values of being a thrifty, ambitious, commercially aggressive, and close-knit group. They are also known for their business acumen and their cultural ethic of taking care of members of their own community. These are valued Eurocentric cultural characteristics too. However, historical analysis reveals other factors in the American society that empowered Jews. They came to America at the right time. Just as the country was beginning to industrialize, Jews had occupational skills that were centuries old that allowed them to capture certain industries and move immediately into semi-skilled and skilled positions in factories in this country. The American economy provided a place for them to build shops and to do contract labor that produced products that did not require a lot of capital. Jews then became rich and powerful in America, in part because of their cultural values, but more because they were accepted and allowed to become empowered by Americans' culture. They built a new culture around their economic base, which empowered them even more. Similarly, Asians and Cubans are held up as models because their cultures promote education, patience, determination, hard work, discipline, and family ties. These ethnic groups ranked higher in the pecking order than black people, even before they placed a foot on American soil. Both Asians and Cubans came to this country as well-educated immigrants. During the 1960s and early 1970s, more than 50% of the Cuban refugees entering South Florida were professional people. Similarly, a study of 52 Korean businesses in 4 cities found that 70% of the owners had a college education. This nation unfairly compares some of the brightest Asian and Cuban immigrants against the whole of black America. This country's political overclass knows that blacks have had the same educational training and business experiences that maturing ethnic immigrant groups have had. If middle-class cultural values are so important to success in our competitive society, then it is white society itself that must accept the blame for culturally depriving blacks for centuries. Y'all hear what he just said? One of the main problems on why we can't get ahead because our culture is all messed up, tangled and twisted. You see what I'm saying? People doing stuff that's not what we supposed to be out here doing. I'm not gonna name the stuff that we seeing go on, but some of this stuff is abnormal, and we're starting to adapt the behaviors that's not in our culture. Like, you seen some things, and you like, damn, why they doing that? Damn, what's going on over here? We're not supposed to be doing that in our culture. One of the reasons why we can't get ahead. Let's continue on. Whites have combined the myth of biological inferiority with the notion of cultural inferiority and deprivation. Both notions promote the de-empowerment of blacks. The mainstream society has demonstrated it has no responsibility or interest in helping put black Americans' cultural house in order. Therefore, we alone as black Americans must now construct our own culture of empowerment. We cannot be empowered by reading the role others have written for us. To improve our condition and empower our team, we must rewrite our own script. We must construct and institutionalize a culture that is based on pragmatism and group strength that generates sustained high levels of intergroup trust and group pride. How do we do this? Black people's culture must psychologically and emotionally elevate them and give them grounds to be a confident and proud people. It should promote the ethnic that blacks are a very special people. Blacks are the original people on the earth. In this country, they are the only non-immigrants. The only non-immigrants. Blacks should be proud of and promote the fact that they have a natural talent for generating music, dance, and language. They have extraordinary emotional and physical strength that took them through 300 years of slavery and Jim Crow and allows them to dominate in nearly all of the sports they are allowed to enter. Black slaves were noted for their ability to perform hard work. Blacks should adopt and inculcate a hard work ethic into their empowerment culture. Prior to their enslavement, blacks were a strong communal society that believed in the concept and value of an extended family. Black Americans have made the most spectacular educational achievement on earth. After 300 years of slavery and forced illiteracy, they reduced their literacy rate by half within 30 years. And amazingly, they educated themselves during an oppressive and deprived period during Reconstruction. No other racial or ethnic group can legitimately make such a claim. These spectacular accomplishments in education must be used as benchmarks that today's black students can reach as we endeavor to create new educational models based on our new empowerment plan. Blacks should build their empowerment culture and the characteristic listed in bold type. These cultural elements will build group confidence, self-esteem, and prepare blacks to cope with reality.